Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is May 21st, 2023, and we're getting into the volume 96 of me answering your immigration related questions. As you can see, I have all your comments pulled up in front of me. Before I begin, as always, as I mentioned in every video, I'm going to mention it here. I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question comment from Reem Malkawi. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. Hello, I filed Asylum 2020. Okay, so it's 3 years, almost 3 years, around 3 years. And received my authorization, okay, and social security number. And I'm still waiting for the interview. They asked for biometric, I did it. It has been a year and I did not hear from them. Do I assume they accepted my asylum? Reem, thank you very much for the question. So they accepted your asylum application for sure, obviously, because if they wouldn't, they would just send it back for you to fix it. So they have accepted, but have they approved it yet? No, they don't approve it without the interview. So unfortunately, you still do have to wait until the date of the interview, because it is only after the interview that they make the determination of whether you are granted asylum or whether they deny your application for asylum. On the plus side, the only thing right now that you really need to be concerned with is just patience, waiting for that interview, because with the field of asylum, they are making a lot of changes, and the changes, unfortunately, that they have been implementing were not that great, because they tried to speed it up, but instead I think personally, they slowed it down and they made it harder for people that have already waited for some periods of time. So it's not, I wouldn't be surprised if there is, a lot more time that you do need to wait for in order to get to that asylum interview. On the plus side, however, you have already employment authorization document. It's a huge step, because unfortunately people are having problems with the employment authorization documents and the asylum, both, whether they are in the category where people are waiting for their interviews or whether they are in a group of asylum seekers that are being processed very, very quickly. Because those who are processed very quickly and their interviews are scheduled within 30 days, they really don't even have enough time to apply for that employment authorization document, get the social security, so far, so forth. So you are in the first category. On one side, it's better because you have employment authorization document. You can legally work in the United States. Basically, you're good up until, hopefully your interview goes well and you're approved. And, you can move on further to the permanent residence and so far, so forth. But there is some waiting time involved. So I would just recommend, getting prepared as much as possible for that interview, having all the documents ready, having your asylum story, having the, what is it called? The list of everything basically in chronological order, everything, all the events that happened, and having all the supporting documents ready so that once you have your asylum interview scheduled, you can just go, prepared, go through it and, be done with it. Alrighty, so let me put this and we're going to move on to the next from PR. Next comment from PR. Wijeratni. Definitely mispronouncing the name. Sorry about that. Good explanation. Thanks. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching. Moving further to Prost Zero or Prost O Mag. Hello. Thank you for this informative video. Do you know if we have already submitted I-693 2 years ago without COVID-19? Do we need to submit whole list of vaccines again with COVID-19? Thank you for answering. Thank you very much for your question. So here's the thing. It really depends on as part of which process you had your I-693 submitted. Because as far as, as far as my knowledge goes and experience goes, you only do the I-693 once throughout the process of becoming adjudicated, basically getting your permanent residence, all right? That's really the only time. Whether you're doing it through asylum, whether you're doing it through family reunification, you're only dealing with I-693 once. and it is right before getting your green card. Basically, this is one of the last requirements that you have to satisfy to get your permanent residence in the United States, is to show that, hey, my vaccination record is current. I don't have, I don't know whatever kind of list of diseases that they have that they don't like, I guess, and that would serve as inadmissibility for an immigrant and a reason for them to deny the application for permanent residence. But that's really it. So if you have done it, the reason why I'm saying it, if you have done it 2 years ago, then I'm thinking maybe everything, you don't even need to worry about it because you already got your permanent residence. But let's take a situation where you did an I-693 and for some reason maybe they did not accept the results of the medical examination, maybe whatever reason it is, but you did not get the permanent residence as a result of something. And now 2 years later you have to reapply for the permanent residence and unfortunately have to go again through the I-693. It would be pretty annoying, honestly, pretty upsetting, because I don't like the medical stuff. I do not like going to the doctors and dealing with all of that stuff. So I would not be excited about it at all. So in that case, unfortunately, the answer is yes. As of right now, they do require to have the COVID-19 vaccination as a list on the list of the required vaccinations. This video that I've done is kind of a hope for me that because they canceled the requirement for a COVID-19 proof for non-immigrant nationals from foreign countries coming here without permanent residence or without citizenship, U.S. citizenship, they no longer need to show the proof of COVID-19 vaccination. So because they no longer need, as of recently, as of what is it, May 11, May 12, I would really hope so. I think they should get rid of that COVID-19 requirement as part of the I-693. So my recommendation in your situation, if you have applied 2 years ago for permanent resident, you did the I-693, for whatever reason the process didn't work out, and now you're reapplying 2 years later, and now you have to go through another medical examination because you're coming up to that final stages of the application for permanent residence. My recommendation is that if you are unable to get the proof of that COVID-19 vaccination in advance and show them and say, hey, look, I have this piece of paper right here, it's written here that I got it there, all right? Because that's really all it is. It's a piece of paper that you're showing them. And they'll say, okay, so you got it already, check. We don't need to do that. Same goes for all the other vaccinations, especially if you have done it 2 years ago. Because if you've done it 2 years ago, then all those vaccinations that you didn't have, now you definitely have them, for sure. So have the record of that to show them at this medical examination and say, look, I got all of those vaccinations, and here's my also separate COVID piece of paper. That's it. I don't need no vaccinations. Thank you very much. That's an option. And the second option is, if you can, wait a little bit longer and give it months or two. I am thinking in the next month or two, they should, hopefully, I really hope so, get rid of that COVID-19 vaccination requirement on the I-693. And for everyone who's watching this video, if you're dealing with this, if you don't want to be vaccinated with a bunch of random stuff, which I don't want to, send a message to your local elected officials, state representatives, senators, and tell them this is a problem. We don't want to be dealing with this. But Prost O Mag, thank you for your question. I hope my answer was helpful. Let's move on to the next question from Shinda Jet. Hello, sir. Asylum work permit approved without biometric in USCIS. Okay, so Shinda, sounds like you are in that category where they were able to process it very quickly without the biometrics. Good. That's I would say that's really good. So now you have the employment authorization. Now all you need to do is go to the Social Security Administration, apply for a Social Security card, get the Social Security number, Now you can legally work in the United States of America, which is awesome. And just, wait until next letters from USCIS. Once you get the biometric appointment, go for a biometric appointment. Once you get your asylum interview, go for the asylum interview. Now it is much easier to wait for all of this because you can legally work in the United States of America. So congratulations, sounds like everything is moving smooth for you. All right, moving further to Sophia Retray. How can I get my I-94? I lost my passport. Okay, Sophia, great question. So whenever it comes to I-94, it's done through CBP, Customs and Border Protection. And I actually have a video on this channel. It's specifically for the situations where you have lost or you're unable to obtain your I-94. Basically, CBP, they have a dedicated website where you enter all your passport information and it gives you the I-94 number. Again, the video with this on how to obtain the I-94 is on this channel. Just search through the videos on this channel and you will find it. Keep in mind though, sometimes when you enter your details, your passport details on their online system, because it's not very reliable, let's just say that. If there's a tiny mistake, space somewhere, wrong spot or something along those lines, the record does not come up, unfortunately. It's very sensitive. So be prepared that it's not going to come up and you would have to actually reach out to CBP in order to retrieve that I-94 number. But again, I'm gonna post this right here and I will find a link for you. Right now I'll put this and I'll find the link for you and I'll update my comment with the link, and you will be able to find that video on where I show how to obtain that I-94. Alrighty, moving further to Mercy Kusi. Please, my husband filed a petition for me. All documents and fees was approved last year March, but I've not heard anything yet. Okay, Mercy, so if you can, please let me know in a follow-up comment if you can. It would make it easier for me to give you a little bit more, still rough estimates, but a little bit better estimates. So one thing is whether your husband is a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. Because if he is a U.S. citizen, then you are in IR category, immediate relative, which is much faster because you're not dealing with the backlog of the immigrant visa. There is no backlog for you. But if he's a permanent resident, then you will be in F2A category, which is still its process pretty fast, but there's a little bit longer waits there because now you're kind of dealing with that immigrant visa backlog that we are all looking at in the visa bulletins. So that's number one, if you can let me know. Also let me know the chargeability area, where you're from. That would be very helpful. I could do that. I could give you a little bit more information. And also number three is whether your petition, your husband's petition for you, was approved by USCIS, or has it already been approved, documentarily qualified, by the NVC, because there's a big difference, and yeah, I would be able to give you a little bit more information. Also, what would help is the priority date is when the petition was initially filed. That would give me all the information that I need in order to look up stuff at USCIS and NVC, not the NVC, but the Department of State with their visa bulletin, and give you some rough estimates. Just please make sure when you respond with that additional information, don't respond to my comment here, but instead submit a separate comment, because, and that goes for everyone who's watching these videos on this channel, if you respond to my comment within your comment, YouTube does not send me notifications for some reason. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Next question from Abdul M. Can I add my co-sponsor on the affidavit from the beginning because my income don't qualify? Okay, Abdul, great question. Thank you for asking that. So, if you know for a fact that as a petitioner sponsor, as the main petitioner, because the main petitioner, they have to be a sponsor. They don't have an option to not be a sponsor. You have to be a sponsor as a petitioner. If you know for a fact that the income is not enough, you're definitely not gonna become documentarily qualified with that income. Once you fill out your affidavit of support, once you're done with it, once you pay with it, you will see in your NVC portal right above your name as a petitioner sponsor. Right above there is add joint sponsor, add sponsor, something along those lines. Click on that. It will give you a window where you will enter the information for the joint sponsor, their name, I think, and not a lot of information. I think it might be just their name, really, and that's really it. And basically what you are doing is, when you do that, is you are requesting NVC to add a joint sponsor. It does require the approval from NVC to add the joint sponsor to the application. It most of the times it's pretty quick. Within few days they approve those requests. I haven't seen the request to add a joint sponsor denied ever. But yeah, you have to do that. You can just go ahead and add another sponsor by typing in everything, all their information. But you do request through this link that is right above the main petitioner. And once they approve it, then you will have the same exact I-864, the affidavit of support, and you don't have to worry about paying for it because the joint sponsors are actually free. You don't have to pay for them. All right, so let me put this, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Lou Keen. Hi and good day to you, and how are you? Thank you very much, Lou, for asking. Appreciate it. We applied the spousal visa February 2022 and got our notice of action number 1 last April 2022, and still we didn't receive the notice of action. How long it takes to get that? Thank you. Thank you very much for your question, Lou. So I am thinking you are waiting. I'm thinking you might be, if you can, the same way as Mercy, if you can, let me know in the follow-up comment. Based on this, your application, I'm assuming you're referring to, because you're commenting on the visa bulletin video. I'm assuming that you're dealing with the visa bulletin with the I-130 petition, family reunification with the spouse. All right. Let me know if the petitioner, the spouse, who is the petitioner, is a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen. Because as a permanent resident, there is some time involved. USCIS, they process it a little bit slower. It sounds like your petition is still with USCIS because, you see, applied in February 2022, got the response pretty quickly, just a couple months, and you got the response. And then since then, now it's been over a year and you haven't even heard from USCIS yet. I'm thinking your spouse might be permanent resident and not a US citizen, because typically with US citizen, it's a little bit faster. It still can take up to about a year, but more times than less, it's like 8-9 months you're waiting. You're now waiting over a year. But Lou, if you can, let me know whether the petitioner is a US citizen or a permanent resident. All right. Please again include, just in case, priority date, because I forget, because I get a lot of comments and I forget who had which priority date. Chargeability area would be helpful too, but you don't have to. I'll just estimate with all chargeability. And plus, we're not really right now waiting for visa bulletin because the case is still with USCIS. Also, alternatively, you can check yourself. I'm going to actually use this as a demonstration for everyone who still has their case with USCIS. This is USCIS official government website. Here it is. You can find this link in the description below. We're gonna go to Tools at the very top right here, navigation menu. Click on Tools and then scroll down. You can find the case status here. Click on Case Status, and you probably know this page. On this case status page, basically you enter your receipt number, and it shows you at which stage the case is in, what's happening with the case. As you can see right now, it's taking forever to load. I am thinking there might be some kind of maintenance going on the website or something like that, because it's not loading. Let's try it through this page right here, case status online. Let's go directly to case processing times. There you go. So case status online, for some reason, is taking forever to load. I'm thinking some kind of maintenance, but through case status online page, you can also access the processing time page, or alternatively, you can do it through Tools like I just did. Doesn't really matter, however you like it. But here, we're gonna select I-130, petition for alien relative. From category, now in your case, Lou, it's going to be, no, this one is not loading either. Yeah, so they're definitely doing some kind of maintenance on their website because nothing is loading. Okay, let me refresh this. I'll try again. So basically in the form you will select the I-130 because that's the petition you're waiting for. Once you select that, you will have options here in the drop-down menu in form category. Basically you will find either US citizen petitioning for spouse or permanent resident petitioning for spouse. Select the appropriate one, and then you will have to select underneath, right underneath that form category, you will select the processing center where the petition is being processed. And you can find that information, the processing center, on your notice of action number 1 that you received, that receipt, notice of receipt from USCIS. It will tell you which processing center your application is being processed in. And once you click that, once you click the done or whatever you click in order to show the results, it will tell you approximately how long these petitions take to process with USCIS. It's not the full thing. Well, actually get processing time right here. So let's try it again, see if that works. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, permanent resident filing for a spouse and US citizen filing for a spouse. So if we select, let's say, US citizen, let's do California Service Center, for example, we're gonna get 14 and a half months. All right, so let's do now permanent resident, California Service Center, and we get 26 months. So almost double. So you see the difference between the two categories is quite significant at USCIS. So if you want to check it yourself, go ahead, check it yourself. But if you do have, if you do want me to look it up and tell you, then please, if you can submit more details, I would really appreciate it. And then got the comment from Brittany Santana right underneath. Me neither, April 18, 2022. Sorry you guys are waiting. It's, that's how it is. It's immigration. You're dealing with immigration. You're dealing with, you need some patience to deal with immigration because you go through these milestones, and a lot of these milestones they have to do with waiting a long time before your petition is addressed, before your application is reviewed, before your documents are reviewed. So it's very important to stay on top. Check your processing times. Submit the case inquiries. If it's taking longer than it has already been, you can submit your case inquiry here. Once your USCIS case is approved, it's transferred to the NVC for further processing. Then obviously you're dealing with NVC. But the more you know about this process, the easier it becomes, the more of kind of in control of the situation, even though we don't really have a control of the situations, but we can address it a little bit better. All right, let's move on to the next one from Lambo. Thanks, man. You're doing an excellent job. Lambo, thank you very much for your kind comment. I appreciate it. I'm glad my response was helpful. Moving further to Manbrar. Sorry for mispronouncing the name. I filed petition under F3 category on September 2010 for my married son and daughters. The chargeability area is India. How long I wait more? All right, man, thank you very much for your question. Let's take a look at the visa bulletin because that's what we're going to be dealing with. Actually the case status loaded. Wow, this is disaster today. I don't know why it's so bad today. I'll just leave it here. But to answer Man's question, we're going to look at the visa bulletin. This is the visa bulletin, the most recent one for June 2023. We're not even in June yet, but we already have June 2023 visa bulletin. So we'll scroll down all the way to right here. First, the graph B, dates for filing, basically when the petition was filed and when it's estimated to open up at the NVC portal so you can become documentarily qualified. Basically, that's what the graph B is showing us. So if we look at the F3 category, which is married sons and daughters of US citizens, it does take pretty long time, and India, they do have their own chargeability area, as you can see here. But luckily, it's the same priority date as the one for all chargeability areas. So really it doesn't matter. It's the same exact date. So we got February 2010. Let's take a look, man. September 2010. Okay, so here's the thing, man. You've been waiting for a long time now. You've been waiting for, almost 13 years. That's a very long time. You do still have just a little bit more to wait, but you are almost there. February 2010, you're in September 2010, so it is about 7 months, 6 to 7 months. Your petition is away from opening up fully on the NVC portal to become documentarily qualified. So I'm thinking most likely as of right now, what you have is your USCIS petition I-130 has already been approved and already transferred to the NVC. And I am thinking right now you do have the invoice, you do have the case number from NVC, and you try to log into the NVC portal, but it just opens up with basically it doesn't give you full access. It logs in, but it says, you have to wait a little bit longer for the immigrant visa to become available, for the NVC portal to open up. So it should be opening up, judging by the June 2023 visa bulletin, in the next 6 to 7 months. Now, after you're done with that, after you submit all the documents on the NVC portal, you become documentarily qualified, then we do have to wait just a little bit of waiting for that immigrant visa to become available, so that your married son and daughters, they can go through that immigrant visa interview. And for that, we're looking at the graph A. Again, F3, India, and it is showing December 2008. So December 2008 is about roughly just a little bit over a year from the priority date here, February 2010. So you have about 6 to 7 months to wait for the NVC portal to fully open so that you can become documentarily qualified. And after you become documentarily qualified, you are roughly looking at another year to wait for the availability of the immigrant visa, so that the immigrant visa interview is scheduled, so that they can go and finally get their immigrant visas, come to the United States of America, and already as permanent residents, basically. So there is still a little bit more time involved, but you've done already most of the waiting. What I would recommend you do in the meantime, I would highly recommend doing that, because I'm pretty sure your NVC portal is not fully open yet and you're not documentarily qualified yet. I might be wrong. It might be, in some situations it's faster, in some situations it's slower. But if you're not documentarily qualified yet, I do have the video on this channel. It's called Documentarily Qualified. What does it mean? And there's something else in the title. But basically, in that video, I'm showing a real NVC portal of a person who was already documentarily qualified. In fact, they already came and they got their permanent residence card and everything, so they're already done with that part of the process. But in that video, you can see the actual open NVC portal with all of the documents, civil documents, financial documents that need to be submitted, the fees that you will be paying for the DS-260, the application for the immigrant visa, and the fee that you will be paying for the affidavit of support. Obviously, the affidavit of support itself, if you need to add a joint sponsor, or how it looks in general. So if you have time, I would definitely recommend checking that out so that you are prepared as much as possible, and all of your documents are ready, so that once the NVC portal is open, you can just log in and within a few days submit everything, pay everything, and become documentarily qualified in like few months, because that's usually how long they take to review that stuff. And that's it. Then just wait for the interview to be scheduled to go and get that immigrant visa. All right, let's do one more for today from Patricia Bonner. Hello, thanks very much. Yes, I'm a US citizen. I switched from permanent residence to citizen. She is the F1 category and she's not married. Patricia, I appreciate your update. All right, so looks like we're gonna have time for one more from Simone Williams. Simone, thank you very much for another comment. This icon right here means that Simone is one of the top commenters. Thank you very much, Simone. She says, hey, been a while since I say hello. Doesn't have any question for now, but I really hope everyone is getting the answers they expect. Stay safe and God bless you. Thank you very much, Simone. I think we're gonna finish this video up on this kind comment from Simone. I want to say thanks to everyone who's tuning into these videos and watching them and asking questions. As many questions as you have, you're more than welcome to ask on this channel. I will never look at somebody and say, oh, this person is asking too many questions. I'll never do that. I understand that completely, because I myself am an immigrant. I myself have a few petitions going, and I will have more petitions that I will be submitting soon. So it's just part of the deal, you know. It's part of the deal, dealing with the immigration process. It's not easy, it's lengthy, but if you have the place where you can get the answers, not with the purpose to somebody, you know, benefit, me trying to lure you into, oh yeah, hire me. No, I don't. That's not my job. I don't work as in immigration field or nothing like this. So it's, to me, it's a blessing. The more questions, if my answers are helpful to anyone who's watching, and you know, if you ask your question and my answer is helped you find your answer, then that's it. That's really all. Honestly, that's all that matters to me. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.